Hello, this is John Ricciuti from Radio Studio 21, and I'm here today with George Petignano. George has a vision for the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame. Do you want to run with that, George?
That's great. John, first, thank you for having me here. It's an honor. I'm in Philadelphia itself, trying to do so much, trying to get so much done, find people, see people, find places. Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame is a vision that I had working with some very, very good and talented people in Philadelphia themselves. And this is to give the honor and the respect to not only the music artists of the 50s, but to give the respect to music of Philadelphia itself. And when I say Philadelphia, it's more broad than that. It's Philadelphia, the Delaware Valley, Pennsylvania, because we have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that seems to think a lot of our Philadelphia artists weren't relevant enough to become part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that I never understood, how you could say you're not relevant. I mean, we have some of our artists, some of the greats, and Bobby Rydell. I mean, Bobby Rydell had 5, 6 charted hits in a very short period of time, and then he was taking his career and moving like a Bobby Darin style, that he would have gotten bigger. He did get bigger and bigger and bigger because he changed out of that rock and roll vein, and then he became a consummate entertainer. You have Charlie Gracie. Charlie Gracie is the first rock and roller of Philadelphia. I mean, give me a break, he charted. If it wasn't for him, I don't think Sir Paul McCartney would be a musician right now, because Sir Paul says that once he heard Fabulous, he was gone. Graham Nash, I mean, that man has brought a lot of people to the forefront just from his music. Chubby Checker. Chubby Checker, please. Not relevant.
Hottest dance sensation in the last 4 years, a thing called the twist. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Chubby Checker. And so, like this.
President Kennedy was doing the twist. Now, if that's not relevant, I don't know what relevancy is. And then you have Dee Dee Sharp, another more dance crazes. Now, all these people, they just can't go where they're supposed to be going. And that's what the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame is. It's to give them their just due. But it's not only the artists, and it's not only that vein of artists. We're going all the way back to the turn of the century. Don Gardner, and Don Gardner, there's another one.
A slew of artists that, you know, their history, and they haven't been recognized, and it's a shame to me.
I mean, I Need Your Lovin' Every Day, he wrote it, he performed it. He was one of the foremost rhythm and blues and jazz drummers across the United States. The Clef Club, which he operates right now, and it's for children that either can or can't pay to learn music, to get music in their lives, you know, to put them on a good path. The Clef Club is also, goes back 100 years. It's the first black musicians union, and that goes back 100 years. Now, Don was nice enough to be able to partner with me. And again, Philadelphia, big town, I'm nobody. I come into Philly, I have friends, I have some family. A lot of my family is that Philadelphia, New York, Wildwood connection. You know, and that's where Mr. Bobby Rydell fits in to my life, and that's that Wildwood connection between my Uncle Charlie's place and his grandmother's boarding house down the block. Where everybody was together all the time at the pool. And so these are my connections, but you need the people of Philly to buy in, to help. And that's what I've been doing, slow but sure, with Linda Hoffman. Now, Linda Hoffman is Bobby's assistant, been his assistant since Bobby started. And she helped out in the beginning. We started getting to the artists, because I needed the artists to buy into what I was doing first. That's something I think a lot of organizations don't do. You know, to get where you gotta go, you know, I could be a businessman, I could be the type of person that says, oh, I want to do this, and I'll put a board together, which I have a very good board. I have one of the hottest boards in Philadelphia right now. We'll get to that later. You could do all of that, but if you don't have the artists buy in, if you don't work with them, if you don't respect them, if you don't give them their just due, then you're just a bunch of people sitting in a room saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do the other thing. That's not what the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame is about. Philadelphia is of the Philadelphia people, of the Philadelphia artists. I say it all the time. Philadelphia is a blue-collar town. That's what makes them strong. And blue-collar town is the real people. Those are the people that matter, that count. Now you have blue-collar artists and the record producers and the recording studio people, because that's what the Hall of Fame is. It's not just, again, for the artists either. It's for anything and everything that had something to do with the rich history of music that came out of Philadelphia. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to pronounce and say. And I'm just looking forward to moving forward on this and how we're going. We hold board meetings now. We've been doing that since the beginning of the year. We're actually incorporated. The Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame is incorporated, and our 501 charitable C3 has been put in also. We will be a charitable organization, because part of what we want to do is not just, lift up the artists and get them out and get them performing. And actually give them awards that they could come to a gala and once a year. And this year our gala is actually going to be November 19th, that we're going to actually swear in our first 15. I'm not going to tell you who they are right now, because that'll be at a future date. But again, to do all of this, to help children, put more music into kids' hands, to try and see if we could actually bring the music dynamic back to Philadelphia. Because at one time it was when you had American Bandstand, it charged. I mean, and before Bandstand, Mario Lanza, Marian Anderson. There was always music in Philadelphia. There was always a star power or quality about it that I just don't think is there anymore. And the people that we still have with us aren't feeling they're getting it. That's what the Hall of Fame is going to be about, to do that, to bring it to the forefront. Try and nurture the new music coming up. Because again, you have some great bands out there now. And these bands are working in the clubs and in the area. But again, on the national stage, it's not there. Maybe the Hall of Fame could actually do something to help that also, help put music back to where it should be, and maybe make it go forward to another phase or another wave in Philadelphia. I'm very happy to be here. I am very pleased to be doing what I'm doing as the president of the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame. I'm also very happy the people I have behind me. They're very, very good people.
My name is Al Toldenberger, Philadelphia City Councilman at Large, and I would like to ask you for your support for the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame. President of the Hall of Fame, George Pettignano, has set new standards for the following important goals: create jobs and nurture future musical talent, provide our local talent new venues and media exposure, help us to preserve and perpetuate Philadelphia's rich musical legacy.
I mean, everybody wants to work, everybody wants to do something, everybody has the same goal. And I think we're going to do it.
Tell me about any of your upcoming events.
Oh, sure. We actually just had one. We had an event for George Manney. George Manney was in the field of music in Philadelphia, one of the gods of, everything that he knew, who he knew, and he had passed away. And George was my vice president. This gentleman was the man that helped me get to where we're going, working hand in hand. And I had thought the first event should have been something in his honor, so that's what we did. We did a fundraiser for George at the Clef Club, and it broke all records. We had thought we would have 100 people, 200 people. We wound up having 400 people come to pay their respects, and we had every artist out there that we can have. And we're moving forward. Part of what the Hall of Fame will do is to do events, and it's to get to the people, to show them, if you're going to be a member, well, what am I a member of? What am I doing? Well, you're going to be the member of an organization that is going to put on events. We're going to try and keep putting on shows. We're going to try and make it live, not just be something that we're going to hang archives on a wall and say, okay, this is the museum, and we're going to give a plaque every now and again. No, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is we have a rich history. We're going to get these people out. Within now to November, I can tell you, I won't give you dates right now, but I can tell you we're going to do a cocktail party for Philadelphia's politicians and the business people. And that's going to be a fundraiser where we will have the artists there to shake hands and meet everybody and say hello and thank them for their support. We're going to do something on the steps of City Hall. We've already been invited. We have to get our dates. And once we get our dates, we will let the people know. And it's going to close this year with our big gala that'll be at the Comstarters. And that is going to be a gala induction ceremony where we swear in and induct our first 15 stars to the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame.
Hi and hello, this is Bob Charger from Radnor Studio 21, here at the Philadelphia Clef Club to cover the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame musical tribute benefit for George Manney. Several Philadelphia music icons will perform today, including Charlie Gracie, Bobby Rydell, Danny and the Juniors, The Times, and so many more. Join us as we cover the live performances and interviews of these great Philadelphia music icons. Hi, this is Bob Charger. I'm here at the Philadelphia Clef Club, and with me is rock and roll pioneer Charlie Gracie. You know, in the Bible it says in the beginning, and in the Philadelphia Music Bible Hall of Fame, Charlie Gracie is the beginning, and I understand that you released The Butterfly, and it landed on William Penn's head. Is that correct?
Well, listen, I knew William Penn personally. He was a good friend of mine.
There's no question about it. Charlie, we go back so many years. Question for you. You're here today with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for George Manney. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with George.
Well, I knew George for at least 10, 15 years, somewhere in there, 13, 14. And he was a great musician, hell of a drummer. He worked with me many, many a time. Terrific drummer. And he had a good mind for music. He played guitar, a little bit bass. He had a studio down in his basement. We used to cut a lot of things there, you know, try out and so on and so forth. And he was a very talented guy and a nice guy. And I was so shocked when I heard about his death, because about 6 weeks before that, I used him on one of my gigs.
Okay.
Yeah, played great. Only he said something to my guitar player that night, which sort of left me. He said, I guess this is the last time I'll play with Charlie Gracie. He said, I wonder why he said that. Could it be I wasn't not paying him enough or did something to hurt him? And he must have like given him a hint.
Premonition.
I didn't realize that he meant it that way then. Now when I look back, I wish I would have had a chance to say goodbye to him. You know, terrible.
Yes.
Yeah. But we're here for a good cause for him in his name. And of course, anything that can beat cancer or any one of these dreadful diseases that we have to live with as human beings, I'm all for it to try to help out quick. You never know when the day comes where you're going to need help.
That's right.
So
here he is, Charlie Gracie, free as a spirit, you butterfly.
Auguri, which means congratulations.
from South Philadelphia with Danny and the Juniors, and to coin the phrase, rock and roll is here to stay, it'll never die. What brings you here today?
Well, we paying tribute to George.
Yes.
He was a fine man. We did some things with him, TV things, and he always did a good job. And everybody from Philly showing up for him.
Yes, they are. It's phenomenal today.
And we're going to show up, and we're going to do a couple of songs downstairs. And all the people down there, I hope they enjoy it.
Thank you again. Frank, no question about it. Rock and roll is here to stay, and it will never die, right?
It sure will.
You're here today for the memory of George Manney. Any stories about George you can share?
Well, I've got a lot of stories about George, but I'll tell you, he was a very special guy. No one loved this city and its music more than George. George was dedicated, and I'm sure you know about the documentary that he had started and was in the middle of. Hopefully it will be completed by some of us. So, George, we miss George so much, and he really leaves a void. I mean, he was Philadelphia's archivist. I mean, he had all the material.
Yes.
You know.
A lot of good, warm thoughts today from him.
Yep. We're thinking about him.
It's an honor to be here to participate in something to honor George Manney, who has done so much for Philadelphia, and he's an old friend of mine, and Philadelphia, the Clef Club. It's nice. It's really good. It's always great with him, and there's been such great music out of Philadelphia since the 50s.
Yes.
And the eclecticness of what we have going on in Philadelphia, not only with Philly International, but you think about the Philly Folk Festival.
Yes.
And when the punk scene happened, the Hot Club, and all those things. So it's kind of like a melting pot of music, and I and the rest of the guys in the Hooters are, really proud of coming from Philadelphia, and proud of the music that's come out of Philly.
And your time period is absolutely great, that 1980 time
Yeah,
period.
it was a fun time, man. There were so many great bands. The Hooters were, a lot of times, you gotta have talent, but the stars lined up, and
Yes.
we were lucky to be at the right place
At the right
time,
as they always say.
Yeah.
And I believe George was one of those visionaries, George Manney. He was one of those visionaries.
Yeah, I think George really kind of always knew that. Like, I always thought he was ahead of the curve when he was doing the stuff with Philly pop music and archiving all that stuff, because I think that is, people want to know about that.
Yes,
I think
yes.
George had a lot to do with inspiring me when I came back to Philly from living out on the West Coast, doing the Essential Songs of Philadelphia in the Pocket. I thought that, that was something that was inspired by guys like George and the music that came out of
Yes.
here, and he was archiving it, and I started recording it and documenting it, and it'll keep going, and I think there'll be someone after me doing the same thing.
He was a visionary because he saw there's a future and let's present it to other generations.
Absolutely, man. I think that's important, because there's, like I said, there's such great music, great people like Jerry Blavitt and High Lit. And,
Yes.
American Bandstand started here in Philly, not in Cleveland.
We're here at the Philadelphia Clef Club with many rock and roll music pioneers and those who came along a few years later. One thing I can tell you, to have a #1 song in the music industry is a great feat. And with me today is Gary DiCarlo. Gary, so great to see you.
Exactly, man. Great to see you too. I'm happy to be here. A lot of talented people here today.
Absolutely. And what's amazing in a love relationship, his song tells the story. Na na, hey, hey, kiss her goodbye.
Yeah, definitely.
The success of that song all these years is phenomenal. Played on oldie stations throughout the country.
Yeah, this year is 46 years. Still going. Commercials, movies, and the record is being still played all over the world. As a matter of fact, two people got in touch with me. One from Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they said that since it came out 46 years ago, it says it's like a national anthem.
Oh yeah,
sing it at every event. And I also heard the same thing with something in London also.
It's a resurgence, first of all, because it's one of those songs we say in the radio business, it's a test wall. People love it. What brings you here today?
I came to see the people. I wanted to see Bobby Rydell. And I know some of the people. I don't know all of them, but I'm happy to be here. This is great, man. It's like old friends and new friends.
That's right.
I love it.
Well, listen, you enjoy the show today, and for now, we're going to say na-na, hey-hey, and goodbye. I'm here at the Philadelphia Clef Club with rock and roll pioneer Joe Terry from Danny and the Juniors from the days of At the Hop, and we go on and on and on. Tell us about some of the musical performers today and who that you admire.
The ones today that I admire, I like Celine Dion. I think she's fantastic. And Alicia Keys.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man, what a voice. What a job she did on that Sinatra special.
Yes.
100 Years.
Yes.
I forget what song she sang, but boy, she did it as good as Frank.
She's knocking people out. And how about some of the people who are here today, some performers? Who do you admire?
Charlie Gracie.
yes.
And Bobby Rydell.
Of course.
And Soul Survivors.
Yes.
I mean, there's some good acts here today.
So I'll tell you what we're going to do. You and I, let's go to the hop. The celebration continues all day today at the Philadelphia Clef Club with the great pioneers of rock and roll here in the Cradle of Liberty. Now, you know, besides the great Philadelphia pioneers, the entire spectrum of music branched out to the West Coast. I'm here with Mitch from the Ripcords. First of all, good to see you today.
Good to see you too, Bob.
Okay, now the Ripcords' history actually began in the West Coast.
That's right.
Part of the car sounds of the early 60s, the beach sound with the Beach Boys and all that.
That's right, yeah. The original band started out in the 60s. Ernie Bringus and Phil Stewart, and then Rich Rockin' and Arnie Marcus, produced by Bruce Johnston and Terry Melcher. And that band made 2 albums and had 3 chart singles. And
you're doing good.
Yeah, that is the history. And basically disbanded in '65. And around the early '90s, I had met Rich Rockin' through some mutual friends, and he was getting together with Arnie again to do the band, and we pretty much put over the course of those years, put the band back together, and put it back on the national stage, and you know, promoting the old songs, and then with some writers in the band, got some new songs, and put together some masters. And
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't hard when we got the call. George was a great guy, and he has done so much for Philadelphia that the list would be, you know, so long. And just walking in here, seeing the people, and seeing my friends from the business, who I can actually call friends, the Times, the Orlons, Bobby Rydell is on right now, that everybody has donated this, you know, the time. You have Joe Terry, you have Danny and the Juniors. I mean, seeing all these people say, you know what? George was such a nice guy. He did so much for this city and so much for Philadelphia. How can we not honor him?
And the point was that everyone just said yes. In fact, there's so many acts that we can't do as much time as we wanted to. We wanted to get on here and just do it till we drop.
Gotcha.
I mean, the guy was that great. So you got so many acts, great acts, that everybody, you know, it's a shame that everybody can't come or it's not done in a really phenomenal, like the Spectrum used to be.
Yes.
But this is why we're here.
I'm here with Charlie Gracie Jr. He is the son of Philadelphia rock and roll pioneer Charlie Gracie. And Charlie is on the board of directors of the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame. Charlie, tell us about this great event today.
Well, first of all, it looks like we have an SRO crowd, which is amazing. But I'm not surprised because this is a great city with a lot of great music and a lot of great musical artists. And the people here are just crazy about them, the Butterfly. And we have an SRO crowd. But George Pettignano, our board president, has done a great job organizing this. I think we're just going to get bigger and better as the weeks and months progress. We're planning some great events for later in 2016. And we have a great lineup of musicians today. Of course, my dad is here, Bobby Rydell, The Times, Orlon, Soul Survivors, Ripcords, the G-Clef Club Jazz Orchestra. They are sensational. I just heard them out in the lobby there. Fantastic. So we're excited, and it's just the first of many things to come, great things to come. Bob.
And to coin the phrase of his father, this is one fabulous event.
Yes, it is.
George, can you give me a summation of the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame benefit for George Manney?
Sure, John, but for me, that's a loaded question. The way I like to talk, we could have a problem there. Short answer, fabulous, excellent, wonderful. I can't say enough. The longer answer, we had showed, or may I say, Philadelphia and their artists showed who we were that day for George Manney. We had the great of music come out to say we believe in the Music Hall of Fame. We believe in what we're doing. We believe that George Manney was a notable person and should have been saluted and honored, is what we did and what the Hall of Fame will do continually as we go through, whether it's the artists, whether it's the music producers, whether it's the DJs, it's all inclusive. We honor the best Philly had to offer, and Philly had about 150 years of music to offer. Right now, for this benefit, to just show you who came out and cares, Bobby Rydell came out, Charlie Gracie came out, Stephen Colwell from the Orlons came out, the Times came out, the Ripcords came out. I mean, Dee Sharp came and was actually, she made sure she came to enjoy the event, and she did, and I was able to honor her from the stage. We had the police and fire, drum and fife come out, because George has done so much for them. We had groups like the Peace Creeps, Ready, Steady, Now, In the Pocket. I mean, they just kept coming. And we took something that may have been a 3-hour show and wound it into over 5 hours. And nobody was leaving. If we didn't turn out the lights, we'd still be there.
There you have it, from the Philadelphia Clef Club, our tribute to George Manney. Special thanks to our performers today, Charlie Gracie, Bobby Rydell, Danny and the Juniors, The Times, the Orlons, Soul Survivors, and many more. From Radnor Studio 21, this is Bob Charger. Bye and so long.
every night.